The best known measure of change in prices is the CPI, or Consumer Price Index. Is there anyone here who's heard about the CPI on the TV or something like that before? Okay, well maybe next time you hear about it you'll go, I know what that means. And it's a way of adjusting things now compared to previously. Now when I was reading up how to do all of this, I had a look at what we pay our tutors, and we haven't put up our tutors' pays for about 8 years, and having a look at the CPI, that's a serious deterioration of what they can buy with their money. So as a result of working this out, next year I'm going to pay my tutors more. Okay, so how it works, and there's a little, I've got a little PDF that I've taken off the Stats New Zealand, because Statistics New Zealand also constructs the CPI, and they do that by buying a whole lot of different things in different places and finding out how much they cost, and from one time to the next, they do it in quarters, they compare how those prices go up and down. But of course they sometimes have to change their food basket, because back in the 60s a lot of the things that we eat now didn't even exist, and the things that we ate then, like butter, was very much a part of everybody's diet. These days a lot of people don't eat butter at all. Back then people would buy a big block of cheese. These days people are less likely to buy a big block. Yogurt, pate, dip, all of those things, just none of that was there. So the basket, or whatever thing that they buy, has to change from time to time. But they adjust, they sort of make it so that they fit together. They also include things like housing, so that's like buying houses and rent and so on, household clothing, tobacco, alcohol, all of those things, so that they get this one number that represents how much it costs to live in New Zealand, that we can use as a baseline compared to other years. Now, if you go to this website, the Reserve Bank website, see RBNZ, government.nz, go to statistics and then that thing there, that gives you this little calculator, and you just click on the button and you go in and you tell it how much the thing was worth in 1 year, and it'll tell you how much it will be in another year. So it's really neat. However, I can't really gain credit for teaching you how to find a website, so you have to do it yourself as well. And how it works is that in the questions related to this, there is a spreadsheet which I have copied the Consumer Price Index into. I've taken it off the website, rounded it to the nearest whole number, and so these are the numbers that we're wanting you to work with. So, in February 1979, I started my first job. This is true, as an office worker. I worked for the Scout office, and it was a sort of a government subsidised job, and it was monumentally boring. My take-home pay was $61 a week. Okay, so you go, whoa, $61 a week, what would you buy with that? So what would that be equivalent to in February 2008? So what I do is I look up the CPI for each of the periods. So February 1979, so I look up March 1979 here, and I find that it's 208. And I look up March 2008, and we find that it's 1044. So those numbers are index numbers, and they have no meaning on their own, but they are useful in comparison. And there is a base number about, I think 2004 or somewhere, it's where it's 1,000, and that's the base, and everything goes back and forward from that at the moment. So how you find out the value at time B is that you take the value at time A and you multiply it by the Consumer Price Index for time B, and divide it by the Consumer Price Index for time A. So that's the formula. So it's going to be 61 times that divided by that. Now, if you can't actually remember the formula, think about it. Is it going to be more or less? Well, clearly it's going to be more than $61. Therefore, the big number will go on the top. That's all you have to remember. We've got our two numbers. It's going to get bigger, big number on the top. It's going to get smaller, small number on the top. And I had fun making up the questions. They're just about all of them based on either events in my life or my son's or whatever. So yeah. Or my mother buying a calculator and things like this. So there's my $61. That would be equivalent of $306.17 a week take-home pay, which is actually a bit less than what people get, I think, in terms of a starting job. But yeah, so sort of useful to know.